Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you can hear me very clearly. If you can't, in the chat, you'll be able to see I've put some comments in there. Just let us know if you can't hear me so I can make some adjustments, but I'm going to say you can. And I just want to welcome you all to our FSI Connect. I wish you were all here in person with us. We have quite a few people here. I'll give you a quick little view just of everyone in the room. Ooh. So we are currently sitting at Victoria Park in Queensland. Just about to kick off with our session for everyone here in the room, which you guys of course will be a part of. But for now, sit back, relax, and if you do have any questions, we should be kicking off at 10 a.m, so not very long. Quentin will get up and do a welcome, and you guys will have access to view that, okay? So I'll just switch you back off for now, but sit back. If you have any questions, please chuck them in the chat. We'll be watching them, and we can go from there. All right? Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Good. I can't remember who made that decision. Good. I can't remember that decision, but I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. Carmen, you got your vegetarian? Good. We unfortunately always keep forgetting that we've got one team member now that's vegetarian, so I'm glad we sorted that out. Couple of housekeeping things. Bathrooms located in the corridor. Female bathrooms are down the corridor and to the left, and male bathrooms are located at the bottom of the stairs. Smoking and vaping. I've been told that I have to read this out. It's on the other side of that wooden garden thing. In case of a fire or emergency, there is a verbal alarm, so they don't have any alarms here at Vic Park. I've been told by Damien, our host, that he'll just be yelling, "Get out." So follow those instructions. Awesome. All right, so without further ado, let's kick off. So welcome everyone to FSI Connect. This is our first event that we've been running since COVID. Everything for us has been online, as everyone would know, so thank you for being in the room. And for everyone joining us online as well, we've got a number of our customers from all over Australia that are joining us online. So make sure that, if you are online, you communicate through the chat with us. We've got some of our team that are going to be monitoring that as well. We've got a massive morning ahead of us with an exciting lineup. We've got a Q&A panel involving two of our distinguished librarians here in Brisbane. I was having a look at it. We're looking at over 4 decades of experience with FSI that these schools are bringing, and probably double or triple that just in their personal experience in education and libraries. We've got some new product launches today, new partnership launches, and a new mission for FSI, which I'll get to. But before we get too carried away, let's jump back and have a look at what happened over 2024. So if I haven't met you yet, my name is Quentin, all over Australia, from different types of schools, from high to primary, private and government. We learnt 3 things that are facing school libraries at the moment: lack of buy-in from executives, lack of budgets, and lack of engagement. And even just in the room today, speaking with some of you, I can see that being echoed here as well. So from what we kind of unpacked from that, with the lack of buy-in from executive teams, we heard from so many people in 2024 that the libraries aren't even factored into teacher onboarding. So if you get new teachers on the school, they're not even coming into library and being introduced. Some schools even said that libraries aren't even showcased during school tours for parents that are trying to bring their kids to the school. We even heard an overwhelming number of librarians say that they can't even remember the last time that a principal has stepped foot in their libraries. And this is just something that's happening and conversations that we've had in 2024. So this leads us on to number 2. That creates a deficit in the budgets. Funding was routed to more important or immediate projects, like tech upgrades before they were pushed into the library space. And what sparked our research from all of this was that we ran a survey at the beginning of 2024, and overwhelmingly, or alarmingly, sorry, we saw that 60% of those people that was responding to that survey said that their library budgets for books was under $2,000 a year. So whilst we've met with many schools that this wasn't the case for, the overwhelming truth of it is that this is the reality for most schools and their libraries. And finally, we heard from school libraries that if executives aren't buying into the library space, that this creates a budget issue, and in turn it lowers the student engagement as refreshing resources becomes a little bit harder to be able to do. So we were overwhelmed to hear this being echoed through weeks and months of conversations and research. And the final straw was when we sat down with a few of our customers that we were doing this research with, and they shared their hearts with us that they've actually got resignation letters sitting on their desktops and they're ready to pull the trigger. And even this morning I've been talking to some of you and hearing that same thing happening, whether it's yourselves or other team members. So it absolutely broke our hearts as a team, and that's when we knew that something had to change in the industry, but also for FSI. It's not about the latest technology or AI or system automation or how pretty the screens of the library management system are, because without people, libraries don't exist. And without libraries, knowledge has no home. So during these group sessions, we learned the power of community, of networking. We asked questions and you answered. You asked questions, we listened and we redeveloped. One case study that we learnt from, which still blows my mind today, was during one of those conversations that we were having, the librarian that we were talking to within this group shared that she runs a loyalty card program at her school. And each time a student comes to the library and borrows, she stamps their card, and at the end of 10 loans, they get to choose something from a box that is funded by the librarian. And in tech, I got really excited and I thought, okay, so how can we put this into the system? We can do badges, we can do awards, we can do pretty things on the screen, and unanimously every single person that was part of that group shut me down straight away and said, no, it won't work. Kids like having those cards with them and it's tangible. Okay, when we heard from another group a few weeks or months later from another person who was part of that initial group, she came and said that after taking that information, she went and implemented it at her school, and she saw a 15% rise in borrowing through her students. So it was through this organic sharing of ideas that we started to see a collaboration happen. So where are we today? We're the same company with a bigger heart for librarians and a stronger conviction for education. We are still proud of our technical enhancements. We were the first company to go cloud. We were the first company to integrate video streaming solutions into the LMS. And we're also the first company to introduce AI into the platform. But we have a new mission. Our mission is to empower education by championing those who shape it, because education is a right, not a privilege. Our experience over 24 has driven not only our new mission, but innovations and new ways of doing things that you'll see showcased today. We believe that school libraries should be the hubs at every school across Australia. And we believe that every child should be given the equal opportunity to thrive in their education. We align ourselves with what Timothy Healy, the former president of the New York Public Library, said when he was quoted as saying, "The most important asset of any library goes home at night. It's the library staff." As we kick off FSI Connect 2025, our statement for these events is collaborate, innovate, and prosper. Not because it's a cool catchphrase, but because through community, through conversations, and through the sharing of ideas, we saw libraries take a step up in 2024. We listened and we innovated to support you. We developed partnerships to bring you better buying power, or more specialist training and insights. Our vision for FSI Connect is not only to upskill you in FSI's products that you're subscribing to, but to equip you with tools to help your school libraries thrive. Be it through innovations that we've developed, training from the industry experts that we've partnered with, or by the organic network and conversations that occur when like minds sit and connect. We want you to know that you're not on an island. You are backed by colleagues all around Australia, and you're backed by us, FSI. So sit back and get ready to be part of the new standard in school library innovation. Let's kick off the day by jumping head on into a panelist Q&A session, touching on these things that we learned from 2024. These sessions are not designed for you to sit and listen. They are safe spaces for you to ask questions, think up new ideas, and to walk away charged with the next steps. We will have roaming mics, so if anyone does have any questions or anything they want to add into the conversation, please raise your hands and we'll come around so that all of our...
audio. Perfect. We'll get into the formalities of the panel very shortly, but at a very high level, we'll have Vanessa McKellar from Glasshouse Christian College joining us, and Candace Neville from John Paul College. Two of our sort of, I guess, leading contributors in that conversation that we had with a group of customers that really illuminated the insights that Quentin just touched on. So, Candace and Vanessa, if you'd like to join me at the front, we can crack into it.
Thanks, guys. So, let's just get this here. Her love of learning in the children's literature has inspired her to. Pursue further studies and pursue further education in the Master of Teacher in a Master's in Teacher Librarianship in 2008. In 2009, Vanessa transitioned into a role of teacher librarian, being mentored by a terrific teacher librarian, and who sort of taught her and nurtured that, that long-standing passion, and sort of further put her passion to collaboration, or further forwarded her passion for collaboration, connection, and curation of the library space. Most recently, she's completed a Diploma of Leadership and Management, further strengthening her ability to lead, inspire, and innovate. Finally, committed to supporting and resourcing the teaching and learning needs of her community, Vanessa champions a culture where reading and learning are celebrated widely. A dynamic library spaces are created to foster engagement and for the positive contribution of well-being, ensuring that in every student and every staff member and every library team member feels valued, supported, and ultimately sort of energised for what their challenge and what their outcomes and what their ambitions are. We've got, secondly, Candace, who is probably she's got a couple of different factors as well, and a couple of different
facets that we'll get on, that we'll sort of touch on, but ultimately her role is the head of the head of digital integration and innovation at John Paul College. Candace leads the Nolene Munns Learning Centre, ensuring it is a vibrant and inclusive hub for inquiry, literacy, and a love of learning. Candace also manages the library's resources and a team of library learning assistants to provide students with staff and access to fully crafted and curated materials and innovative tools. By fostering a welcoming and engaging environment, Candace makes the library a central space for exploration, creativity, intellectual growth within the community and the school at large. There's also a piece here that Candace oversees is the digital technology infrastructure and the digital technology presence of the school. So in addition to overseeing the library, Candace drives the integration of digital technologies and innovative this word will trip me up as I get into the education space and the education sector, pedagogical practices across the entire school and John Paul College. How did I go? Was that okay?
That's good.
Excellent. And her vision is for the Nolene Munns Learning Centre to be a dynamic hub that serves as the heart of the school. Again, touching on what Quentin's mentioned there, really funneling that hub and that resource and that centre of the school for learning and celebration of that. So serves as the heart of the school, both offering physical and digital assets and supporting inquiry, innovation and collaboration. So I think together they're going to have a very sort of valuable set of ideals and a set of experiences that we can all draw upon and sort of learn from. So let's crack into it. The first topic that we're going to be covering this morning is on sort of the buy-in from the executive team. And so the first question to kick us off is, from your experiences, and this, there's no sort of turn to take here. It's really just however the conversation you'd like to flow. But from your experiences, the experiences of your colleagues and the experiences in the conversations you've had with them over your careers, what do you think influences or reduces the buy-in from executives or business managers? Both influences positively and negatively.
I think the biggest thing at our school is always that the budgets when they come around and people not realizing what the library can actually do. So they cut your budget before they actually see what influence you have on the school, whether that be you supporting teachers buying in resources that they need for units, or at our school, the library also planned and delivered the design and digital lessons for the library. So when I came into the school about 2 years ago, their librarian had just retired, and they were looking to try to strengthen their digital and design curriculum side of things, which is why I was brought on, because that's more my area. But I also have an IT degree where I managed databases before in a previous corporate job, so I felt like I was up for the challenge, and I realized that once I got into it, there was a lot of other librarian skill sets that I needed to upskill myself, and then start joining communities to make sure that I would get that skill set as well. But budgets, I think, is the really heart of that, and I think they don't realize everything that it can do, so they slash your budget first before they see what the impact it is.
And I think it's knowledge too. When I first started, I have 3 wonderful colleagues here from our library today, but I think Jane was doing a 9-day fortnight. I was teaching 1 day a week in the classroom and in the library 4 days a week. So we kind of hit our executive and our management team with lots of data. They saw me working copious hours late each day, thinking, what are you really doing there? It's the knowledge of the load that we carry and the depth of the things that we support. And we have a heart to serve, and we can take on a lot, but sometimes it's at the detriment of our well-being as well. So it's just navigating that space. One way we got around that was, looking at the impact that we were having on teaching and learning supporting staff, looking at providing data that could give clear evidence that we had a purpose and that what we were doing was helping. And that came about through library reports, very lengthy library reports, but we have so many wonderful databases that can provide that data. So that was wonderful evidence that could steadily grow our team. And when I first arrived, I said, okay, well, who's the library technician? Is there another? Are you considering a secondary teacher librarian? And all those things have come to pass over time, but it took years of just building that and building trust for them in us as well, that we can provide those results and have a wonderful team that, we might look amazing on the surface that we're getting through things, but underneath you're swimming very quickly. Your legs are really moving and we all get on a fast-moving train in the world of education, but we're there to support, and that's one way that we've navigated it, through data and impact on teaching and learning.
Yeah, we did a series of in-depth or sort of more in-depth interviews with a subsection, and that real-time data and the application of it was certainly something that stood out even in conversations when that question was sort of asked of a bigger group in a one-on-one interview. Was influencing that real-time data was certainly something that that stood out as a theme as well. So I think there's certainly some fuel for thought for that. And I guess, have you ever experienced a lack of buy-in from executives at the school or at the schools, or not necessarily these schools now, but in prior sort of career moments?
I know when I first started, I realized that they had no idea what one of my learning assistants did, because she ran the senior side of the library, because many years ago they downgraded. They had 2 library spaces and they merged it into 1, and no one could really know what this person was doing. So I made that my mission to show them how busy she was and how much stuff she actually did. And whenever they asked a question, I'd go, I'll get my staff member to do that because she's very great at that. And I think that started to make them see that there was a lot more that person was doing than what they were before. And then I noticed that when I started within the library, no one really had a clear job description of what their actual day-to-day tasks were. So I got my whole team in a week to just write down everything they did. And then they were like, oh, do we have to do this? And I said, yes, because then when someone comes to me and goes, what are they doing? I go, this is everything they achieved in a week. And I had some data, once again, because it's always data-driven, to back up, saying these are the amount of hours that they actually spend doing this. This is how they're supporting students. This is how they're supporting teachers. This is even how they're supporting admin. So they are very key player in the team, and this is all the jobs that they do. So I found that was really great, because that was some data that I could give them that they didn't really have an oversight on.
I would say one way we helped navigate that space is, building really strong relationships. I know Beryl and our secondary TL works really hard on collaborating with staff and building engagement. As soon as a new team member arrives, we run a library orientation. We have tried to put all our guidelines together, but we also just have a short snapshot of our information, so that there's something lengthy if people want to dig down and see what we can offer, but there's also something that's really simple and quick to refer to. And also championing the collection. At times when we've had challenges, we've really built those strong relationships. The team I have here today, Jane and Terry, when we're busy teaching and leading and organising, Terry and Jane run book chats with every class when they can that comes in to borrow. So just that ripple effect of everyone taking on and thinking of ways that they can engage with teachers, modelling that love of reading, championing the collection, and making sure that our spaces, are engaging, but that areas to borrow from are really clearly defined, but that we are presenting, for us, the book chats we run are with P to 6 for our primary book exchanges, but capturing those older readers that might have lost interest or, are kind of going under the radar. But that's one way that as a team we can show, and the teachers have responded so well to that. And when it was considered perhaps, reducing that, it was the teachers that I think one of our management team actually came in and saw what was happening, and they were just so impressed with, the way that we were connecting with the staff. But it wasn't just the leaders, it was, the team. We're all there to lead and to guide and to promote a love of reading and learning. So that's lifted the focus on reading and getting the right book in the right hands to ignite that passion and love for lifelong reading. Yeah,
fantastic. I'll take a moment to, for the room, if anyone is in this topic as well, I'm keen to contribute ideas or thoughts that they've got as well. On the topic of buy-in engagement or buy-in from the executive. No pressure at all. But if anyone from the room's got any sort of ways that they've navigated that sort of dynamic or that sort of particular frustration or reality sometimes. I know, I mean, that idea of just writing every single thing that you do in the team down, that's a fantastic sort of thought bubble to bring to reality. Does anyone have any other sort of experiences from their side or from their schools that would, I guess, sort of they'd share?
I think something that adds value that isn't always possible with staffing is the opportunity to live outside the library a bit. And that I found, because I've probably had the flexibility to do that in my role because of the team that we have, to go and connect with teachers in the staff room, regular appointment time to meet with head of middle school, head of senior school. They're not easy things to build up to get to, but once you've got that, you've got a lot more momentum for influencing impact. So and I know when I first started doing that, people were quite shocked that I lived outside the library. But as I explained to them, a library is a library without walls because of where we connect to, and we are at the centre of the school, but we influence and impact so much of what else goes on in the busy place that school is.
Thank you. Just a question about John Paul. Just your background sounds really interesting in terms of the other places where you've worked outside of education. So in that digital innovation and technology space, what are some concrete examples of things or light bulb moments you've had that you've introduced in that 2 years that you've been in the role?
So when I started out, I was actually just the digital and design coordinator, and then that was the first 2 years. So my only priority for the first 2 years was to run the library, and then to go to each of the lined up planning lessons that the P to 6 had, and to show them how to integrate the digital and design curriculum into their lesson, the units that they were already running. So I didn't want them to be a tag-along lesson. I wanted to incorporate it in. Then I saw that the space in the library was being used for a whole bunch of different things. So we had Chinese lessons running in the front. We were the first space to be booked if there was like a life education lesson coming in. We were the first ones that they were taking the little breakout rooms that we had for, students doing things. And we were at ongoing competition between primary school and secondary school of who got the space. So working through my time, we're dividing the space. So upstairs is primary, downstairs is secondary, because it just makes it easy for booking. And then we can't have Chinese lessons in the library. That took 2 years to try to work out solutions as to what that looked like. But as soon as that was gone, it meant that I could then rearrange my library so there was a better flow for borrowing. And then we were a growing school. So when I started at the school, there was, I think there was about 30 classes from P to 6. We're now sitting at about 40. So in 2 years, we've grown substantially, and that helped me being like, we need more library space. We can't keep doing that. So that was one of the things that was just redoing that library space. And then I also noticed that they weren't using all these digital tools they had because our tech department would set it up, but there was no one to show them how to use it in the classroom. So that's where I stepped in, and that helped do a lot of things. So for example, that helped we're focusing on sustainability, and I noticed how much everyone was printing, and the copyright issues that sometimes go around printing, as we know from being in library spaces. So I knew not much about copyright. I knew that you shouldn't copy a whole entire textbook. Some teachers seem to think that it's okay to do a little bit more than that. So then that led me doing things like giant PD for P to 6 to show them this is the copyright, but then I showed them how to implement things within that session that allowed them to not have to print. So I showed them how to incorporate our digital tool where we use a lot called Vivi, and how to use that during a lesson instead of getting them to photocopy a worksheet across. So I started running PD sessions that then showed them how to incorporate that. So my one this year that was really great was a library scavenger hunt. So it was the first session I had with them, and I made them go and find all these places because I'd moved everything around, and they had to go and find all these places and what it looked like. And I found that had a really great buy-in because it's just showing them how to do things in a fun way, but also what exists. So I had people coming and being like, I didn't know we had guided reading for 3 to 6. I'm like, oh, well, that was a whole room in the back of the library for the last 4 years that You could have come and visited at any point. But they just didn't know. They don't know what they have resource-wise. So that was my biggest thing, was trying to transition the library to be a physical and digital resource center. So not just the books inside a building, but showing them that we could also be there at the school to help incorporate the digital tools that we have as well, showing that they've got resources to all that. So starting to do little tutorial videos that now are hosted in one central location. So it's kind of, we're trying to make ourselves the point of call for anything. So for researching, for a physical book, or for like a digital resource. So we're trying to make ourselves very pivotal in that moment.
Something else we did too is seeking a grant. So I built the Makerspace initially through grant money, but then that kicked off that, right, we're igniting something here, we'll help now continue to build it. I also partnered with a teacher for a grant for purchasing Anzac resources and doing a big display in that. So it's, coming alongside people, and when there possibly isn't the funding, to seek out other options for doing that. Another thing that has given us great mileage is we do run the Scholastic Literacy Pro program in the library for primary, and that has been a fantastic way for our team to support teachers in tracking data and supporting reading, but having, another evidence-based program that is all about enjoyment of reading, but it's about that being accountable for building your comprehension and your skill level, but also being free to choose a range of books, but consistently over time, building that reading stamina to improve that for students. So that's something that the school then, as people come through for library tours, that's one thing that they do really look at, because it is such a core part of our primary for year 3 to 6.
Fantastic. Hopefully you got enough content out of that question. Yeah, fantastic. Awesome, thank you so much. If no one else has got any questions, if there's any other thoughts or questions in the room at all, no? We can jump into, I guess, an equally important topic of user engagement. We've got a healthy trove of questions for that topic, sorry, all good. I think the first place that I'd start would be, obviously the overwhelming fact of the matter is that the teachers are incredibly time poor, as we've touched on just even in these answers so far, or these sort of topics so far, but very incredibly time poor to lean into the library. What are some ways that the library staff, the library team, more broadly, can help teachers with that proactively, or what's some ways that they can sort of help that sort of crunch that the teachers are under at the moment?
We use Gateway as our intranet, or school box. We call ours Gateway, our version, and I really endeavour to make that visible for the staff, that we have a presence there as a library team, that we have fantastic pages that we go to regularly, that we encourage the students to access, but also in the support side of things on the teacher pages, we have lots of links to information. We team up obviously with the databases. Our team helps with, we do all the purchasing, so we support that, but engaging and giving out the links to help them get started, but we're always there to, engage with seeking outside support to run PDs and things with that. We also provide resource forms, so teachers can fill out a resource form if they're after something particular, and we keep a record of that. So we use the local subject list in Smart Suite to build up resource curated collections, so that as we buy new things, we can catalogue it to meet that curated collection, and teachers can request that. It's easy for us to find them also. So when they send in a request, we're notified through email of that form, and then we can get the items for them to save them time, so they can come in, have a look at what they'd like, and we can borrow them, quickly and easily. And we also do that for our digital resources as well. So they're just some ways that we help with that.
One of the biggest things when I started was having a look at our catalogue and having a look to see if stock take has been done regularly. So there's nothing more frustrating than trying to find a resource and then looking it up and then thinking it's in a location and it's no longer there. And I find that frustrates teachers the most, because then that's wasted time, or that's also wasted time on our staff for the same reason, if they're trying to find that book and it's not where it is. So one of the biggest things I did was try to implement some sort of routine and strategy to being able to catalog as often as we could. So we strive to actually catalog our entire collection every year. It's a big undertaking, but it just means that each term we have a certain section that we start in, and then I started using the tags. So I've got it that I have like missing 2024, and then that stays in rotation for 2 years, and then those get deleted off our catalog, because if it's not found in 2 years, it shouldn't return, and if it does, then it just gets put back on. But it just means that we're trying to clear out our system to make sure it's as easy to follow, and if you search for a book, you can actually find the book. The next thing that I'm going to try to do is I'm working with the person who's implementing our English lessons at the moment, and then working with them to actually come up with search strings for things that they want to look. So that's like subject-based things. If it's persuasive text or another type of text type they want to look for, then the teachers just click on the link, and then they can get one of the external search strings from within the system to go out and then be able to search just within that search string, which I think will help, but that's something that just takes a little bit of time to do. But we're trying to find ways that we don't have to be continuously having those meetings with teams and having them have the control to go and search and find things. During my scavenger hunt, I realized that a lot of them didn't even know how to get onto our library catalog. So that was one thing that I really started to push, and I didn't want to push that too much until I knew that our catalog records were quite correct in what we had. So that's my big push this year, is showing them how to search appropriately and how to actually find the resources that they need, and then working with the teams of if there's certain subject tags that they need us to start putting in to help them find those resources easily.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, your sort of alignment meetings that you have, something that stood out, I mean, coming from outside the industry into it, that, yeah, sort of, how do those work, basically? Yeah.
So I'm part of an IB school, so they have a dedicated 90 minutes for each team. So they're pulled off, their students normally go to a specialist during that time, so they have a full 90 minutes to work on their planning, which is amazing. I go down to those meetings. I try to make myself as annoying as possible by jumping in with ideas and being like, oh, I think we've got a book about that. Oh, here's a great resource. Did you know you can search? And try to jump in as I say things as I go, trying not to be too annoying, but trying to be as helpful as I can. But the hope is that they start to then have those tools. So I've built things like a PDF document that just has the external links for all of like the ebooks platforms that we have, all of like the resources they have available to them, so that I say to them, oh, that's your one-stop shop, so start there. Click on some links, see what you have available to you, because I find that if they don't know about the subscriptions that they have, then they're not going to use them, and then the school cancels those subscriptions because they're not being used. So just, keeping up with that. Then I also started to realize that not many of the subscriptions were tracked of when they were going to expire. So I kind of took control of that, and now I have a spreadsheet so that I'm actually notifying secondary school months in advance that the database is coming up, so that they start putting money aside for that, rather than telling them like a week out or a month out and they go, we don't have budget for that anymore. So trying to tag that as early as possible. I'm trying to get to the point where that's actually going to be at the beginning of the year email, being like, these are all the subscriptions that you have that go through the library, this is the total cost for them, and these are the dates that they're due, so that they start allocating my funds for that earlier than later, because you find that if it's one that comes at the end of the year, by the time the money comes up, it's no longer there. Some of them that actually were at the very end of term 4, I didn't renew, and I waited to push it to the beginning of this year, because it's easier to get things through at the beginning of a year than it is at the end of the year, which meant that there was a few weeks where we were out without a resource, which was not great, but it meant that I could then get it signed back up at the beginning of the year, which means that there's normally more money in those budgets, and they're more likely to approve at the beginning than at the end. So that's just some of the tips I put through.
Sorry, Vanessa, I might just throw a quick question out to Candace while we got you. You mentioned getting involved with those meetings and not being too annoying. What's your definition of not too annoying? Because I know, as someone who sometimes leads those meetings, there is potentially some annoyance from people that come into them. So how would you go about making that definition between annoying to make a difference and annoying the other way?
Look, I've got a lot of tech skills, so I've kind of made myself really indisposable for those teams. So they don't complain when I talk as much because I say a lot of stuff that they like to use. But I think if you're coming from a point of view, it would more just be being respectful of their conversation. So you'll know that when you're in a planning meeting, they start jumping ideas through each other, and you want them to have that momentary process of like getting all their ideas out. But at a time, you start feeling like it comes in that circle where they're coming back to the same ideas that they were, and they haven't really nailed down what they want to do there. So I find if I've got a good idea, that's the point where I'll jump in, because that's the break in it. You don't want to come in right at the beginning because you want them to have some of that ownership in their idea. But if you start to feel it circulating and going around, that's kind of the time to jump in. Or then sometimes I'm just jumping in at the beginning because I've got a really, really good idea and I'm excited about it, but I try to let them still have that. That's their planning time. That's not me. But if I feel like it's doing that circle and I've got a really, really good idea, then I jump in then.
I think it's the follow-up too. It's like, hey, I'll follow up with an email and just touch base again or share that link just so they've got a record of it. Being a great listener is really important, seeing those key moments when you can just touch base with someone when they're not too overwhelmed or they've got a moment just to take it in. All of those things. We look at a lot of qualitative data as well. If we get a great email or a student says something, please write that down, and we often include that in our reports because that is such gold really and for your management team as well.
Yeah. Just got a question over here.
It's more a comment. Based on what you're doing, sometimes I have tried to build in relationship with my head of junior school or other ones where I will talk to them before the planning days and I will find out what they're thinking, where they're heading, especially as they've been rewriting things for version 9. And then I pull a whole lot of resources or create digital resources and have them there ready beforehand, and I talk them through with the people who are leading the meeting. And so things are there, so I have copies of books there that I think might be great mentor texts, and I will often pop in and present those so that hopefully it will guide them at the beginning. So instead of them going off down a path where there's no resources or they've got things off Pinterest or Etsy that are like from the 80s, I say, hey, this is up to date. This is freshly published, easily accessed. Consider these things, and so they're sitting there ready for them ahead of time.
Yeah, thank you so much. So this next part, or this next question, is. You've obviously got great engagement in the schools yourselves, individually and collectively. There's schools out there that might not have as higher engagement as they would like. What would it be in your minds that influences or drives that engagement for yourselves at your schools? Is it the quality of the collection? Is it the one-on-one, teacher alignment efforts? Is it longer library hours, more staff? What is it that, or it could be something else entirely. What is it that makes your engagement so high, or that makes engagement in your libraries as high as it is?
I guess relationship is a key for me. It's building those relationships. We're blessed to be an environment in an independent school where we have a large team. But it's, getting to know those kids. We're in a P-12 environment, so supporting their learning journeys. Building reading stamina is a key for us. We have a lot of wonderful ebook platforms and things like that, but for our primary students, it's that love of developing that engagement with the book and the time it takes to enjoy it and to build that enjoyment in their reading. So it's not a task, but it's something that they want to come to do every day. One of the ways we have done that through the year, we'll bring out the sand timers. They're a 20-minute timer. It's a 10-minute, and if they flip it twice, it's 20 minutes, and they can earn a little fluffy ball in a tin for that, and a plastic bottle. So we see them gain momentum and grow in numbers, and that's one way that the kids are building their stamina without, having fun along the way as well. That comes to mind. I'll pass over and I'll think of something.
I think it's definitely that one-on-one support, but we do understand that not all schools have that as a viable option. Like, no, some people are there in their libraries stuck and can't get out to lined up planning meetings or can't get out to see it. It's just being personable and just showing them the resources. So I find I do a quick little tip we've got a staff briefing that runs for 10 minutes, and I do like a 1-minute quick little tip about something that I found out that week. That's how I started getting into getting them more engaged with things. So it's one of those things that I find if they don't need it at that moment, they're not listening to you at all. So it's really about when they need it, how are they going to find it? They might remember you talked about it, so it's showing them a platform or a resource or availability of where they can go and find it or where they can have that conversation with you. Because if they're trying to come up and have that conversation with you and you've got 1 million students in front of you, they're not going to come back because they go, oh, she doesn't have time, I'm just going to leave it, it's not that important, I'm just going to keep doing what I always did. Whereas if they're coming to you at a time when you've got 1 million students in front of you, but you can go, oh, here, quickly, scan this QR code and you'll find all my resources in one spot. Or I'll send you an email I'll send you an email when I'm done here with that link to what you need, then they're more likely to. So, and it's also just respecting their time and your time that you might not have the chance to do it, but having a bank or a resource, just a folder. Like I've got a folder on a team site where I've just got all these little folders inside of, what our different systems can do and what they're able to pull or what they're able to find. And I do quick little screen recordings when someone comes to me with a problem and I dump it in there so that when someone else comes to me, I can go, here's the location, because they want that one-on-one support, but we don't always have the time for that. But that's the only way you get them is with one-on-one support, because they want it then and they want it now. And if they have to wait for it, they're never going to do it. And unfortunately, that's just the name of the game. So I think it's just having a resource or a pile or something that you can go, here, it just makes it that little bit easier. And just say, oh, I don't have something for that now, but I'll do up a quick video later and I'll get that to you afterwards.
Yeah, that's putting a call out for videos from Functional Solutions with lots of just easy takeaways that, you can just send through, because as we know, we're all time poor. One of our goals is to build, we're using OptiSigns for a screen in our library, but just promoting things in there. One that was very engaging was a book week promo we did, and it had who the students came as, but also had the book beside it. So that was just one way of saying, oh, that's that book, I want to read that, I've read that before, and it just started that dialogue. So looking at ways that are, catching the eye of and attention of people who are really time poor, but we want to help in any way we can, but it's just getting in that moment when we can be there and be supportive.
100%, yeah. So,
Sorry, can I just add? Sorry. And starting small. So the bank of videos, it's taken me 2 years and I probably don't have a video on everything yet. So it's not having everything available right then where you need to, and then starting to put it back on someone. So I've had people come to me and go, I have this amazing deal, I did this is great. I go, great, can you do me a video and send that to me? So trying to put it back onto people, especially students. If there's certain student things that you want students to be able to access, getting students to create your videos for you saves you a lot of time, and they really actually enjoy doing it sometimes. So it's starting small, because I made it sound like I've got all these amazing resources, but it's taken me, some of them I brought from other schools that I've been at, so it's taken me a lot of years to bank up and build these resources. So it's not quick, it's not 1 second later you've got everything that you need. It's that slow build up of it and just building it as you go. So you can't just sit there and think of everything that you need to build. It's more someone comes to you and then you slowly start to build it up. Sorry.
Can I just quickly butt in with a question, more just because I'm nosy, but in terms of following up your staff at the moment, can I get a show of hands of who would be doing that via email just with a link? Is that, yep. And then are people sending out videos to their staff at the moment? Yeah, so it's just interesting if that is something that you would like FSI to support you on, creating video content that you can send more aimed at your teachers, that kind of content. Do you think that's something that would be helpful? Yep, we're getting some nods. So there is some content that is available specifically for the teachers, but we'll certainly look at keeping it under a minute for those teachers moving forward.
Helpful. I put a lot of links from your help pages.
Yes.
They're really great, but It's making sure that it's the right version as well, that we're not
Yes.
leading them astray.
Yes.
But that's one way to save me time, not being able to make lots of videos. But yeah, I'll do key ones here or there, but it's just the time. But something that would be quick and easy just to send them to.
Yes.
At the moment, it's hyperlinks to all those wonderful help notes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
A page that summarizes it all on there. So like
Yes.
one pager that we're sending out.
Yes. More of a teacher how-to guide. Yes.
And I think if you have a video that also has a voiceover, because sometimes videos are just a whole lot of quick flash, do this, and there's no auditory component to it, and I think it's better to have both.
I just want to ask a question. I mean, I love all your engagement ideas and everything else, but I'm one librarian, 2 campuses. Library's senior campus is open 7:30 to 5. Most days I'm there, stuck in the library, supervising. So have you got tips as a person that's on their own, feels totally overwhelmed? Doing videos is great. I also supervise up to 25 study lessons a week. So how can I reach out and, instead of just being told you dust shelves, reach out and get support and buy-in?
I think we'll be looking for key staff, key players that, that are really engaged and want to know more about how to use things, because they then will pass it on to their teams and build that excitement. But yeah, looking for ways that you can, work smarter, not harder. But it's such a challenging position to be in. But yeah, my advice would be to find key people to build momentum, to find the right people to kind of come alongside you and to boost up so that they can then pass things on. In the past, with the number of books that we have coming in, and it's getting more challenging to put the right book in the right hands, but also the content that is suitable as well. I've had proofreaders, in Year 6 that I can throw new books at. I know that they can be, great advocates of saying this is a good one, this is not that great, or so I'm looking for support from helpers with students as well, but they're 2 tips.
I would say the same thing. So students would be a great one. So even if you approach, some schools have like monitors or leaders of some kind, asking your teams if maybe you can have a library leader, so if they can give you a secondary student that's their now role and responsibility, and then getting them to help you create content, because they're quite quick at creating content. The other thing I would say is a community. So when I first started, I will admit, I'm not a librarian. So when I first started, I needed to figure out a lot of things very, very quickly. I have a great team that have been at the school for so many years. Like, I think the one that's been there for the short amount of time is 10 years. So they know a lot, and I leaned on them a lot. But then I also reached out to communities, and I'm part of like a few different groups outside of that, and we share a lot of resources. So I'm part of one teacher librarian meetup group where we meet once a term and we share as many resources as we can, and we kind of have an agenda set for things, and we bounce ideas off each other, and we share as much as we can with each other. Or we're the first ones to email out the group to say, hey, does anyone have a resource on this? You can't do it all. You can't make it all yourself. You need to rely on the people around you as much as you can. And I know that the Lighthouse helped with that. So the Lighthouse group helped with sharing ideas and figuring things out. So just relying on the people around you, as well as trying to get like a student helper. Teachers are great and will help when they can, but the same thing, they're time poor and they'll tell you that they don't have time. But having a student that maybe it's their responsibility helps with that as well.
I've tried a student library committee after I did a survey, but it's just,
Yeah, you get 2.
involved. They just sit there and I'm running it all and coming up with the suggestions.
So yeah, I think a community helps, getting people to share tips. Happy for you to reach out afterwards and I can share what I've got. I'm always happy to share.
Something else we introduced were literature circles in primary. So we initially started with Year 5 and then it went to Year 6. So it's, the kids choosing what book they'd like to read, but working in a small group and then meeting together. Initially, I would also have parents come in and help me take groups, and they would read the book as well, but teachers would do a session in the classroom, reading and responding, then we would do one in the library. Over time, it's just got to the library where we were managing that, which is fine, but it was a buy-in for secondary to see, wow, how can you get all these kids to read so many different books and still be able to manage all of that? And it steadily drip-fed into secondary, and now they have a wonderful wide reading program, because they were so fixed on the, this book in this term and that. So it opened up opportunities for, more kids reading more. Something I do in the lessons too is we had a wonderful speaker talk about leading teams in your lessons. So say for year 2 at the moment, they all come in, but there could be a leader for that table during the lesson, and the leader's responsible then for choosing someone to get the glue and this pencils, and then whatever we're doing. But that leader then becomes in charge of kind of keeping everyone on track, and there's incentives in there, but at the end of the lesson it's like, hey, team leader, can you make sure that your team packs away that table? And so it's kind of reducing the ownership of you to have to manage everyone and keep everyone busy when you've got a quick lesson to get through and you've got a lot to do. They just love that sense of ownership and being in charge of being the boss for a short time.
Yeah, do those ideas, do some of those, sort of help? I did have a follow-up question for Vanessa, just if I may. On those key relationships that you mentioned at the start, who would you sort of put in that sort of category for sorry, I've forgotten Bernie to sort of engage with?
In relation to her question?
Just those
key stakeholders, kind of.
Those people to sort of,
so often it's a teacher that loves to read. It's engaging and reminding teachers that when they do come in for book exchanges that they are the greatest advocate besides us to be there, to be supporting book choices and listening when our team shares. It's also tracking, we have library passes so that the kids can come out of class time. We're a busy library, so it is difficult to be managing text collection and then a primary class, then you've got other kids coming, but it's kind of, building relationships with that teacher. Say, hey, we've noticed that this child is coming regularly, but they're not actually completing quizzes, or, we see them every morning. So it's developing those habits of building independence, to be a borrower, to come regularly, all those things. But in that opportunity, it's networking with that teacher to say, hey, how can we help you? Because oftentimes there could be students that come out of class 2 to have a break from the classroom, but it's navigating those spaces. So key teachers and parents as well. We have a lot of volunteers that over time we haven't got as many helping with covering, but we have a great staff member that's running the RTC just to talk to students through their behaviour choices, but she's a great advocate for our library and she does a lot of our covering. So that's helped one way to reduce the load for us. And we have a wonderful book club team who just mentioned this week that she'd been doing it for 10 years and her daughter finishes this year, but she's already committed to, no, I want to stay part of the community, I'm going to keep coming next year. So, it's parents, teachers, and then we often invite management to come along to events. They may not always get there, but if we have an author visiting, it's big morning tea and we invite all the teachers and management to come along. Just keeping those connections open that you're always welcome, and we've got things here to be excited about.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Vanessa. That's great. Yeah, thank you. How are we tracking for time, team? Pretty good. 4 minutes. Cool. 4 minutes for those online as well. You're welcome. We might take that short moment there. There was an example that we talked about with light when we came and visited Candace at John Paul College. I won't steal anyone's thunder. Let's unpack that example and go through it.
Yeah, so it's basically that example where a teacher comes to you and goes, I need all the books about light. And you go, okay, I can do this. You pull all the books that you have about light. You know that you're your 3 teacher or your 4 teacher, so you pull what you need. And then you give them this pile of books, and they go, oh no, I wanted light about like reflection or refraction. And you go, okay, well now I'm going to have to spend time, putting all those books back that I grabbed, and now I need to whittle down that collection to just the area that they wanted it to. And then you're like, well, that would have been a lot easier in the beginning if they had told me everything that they needed to, but you get it. They're busy, you're busy, like they just wanted to quickly say what they needed to grab. So there's a few things that we try to do at our school. So what was already in place was we're an IB school, so there's 6 units of inquiry that we always do throughout all year levels, and then the curriculum fits into that, so it makes it slightly easier for us. But we actually have a bookcase for each of the unit inquiries, and then over time we've chucked as many books as we can onto there, and then they're catalogued to the sublocation of that area, so when they look for it, they can find it quite easily in that section. But now with the curriculum changing over, We are hoping to either keep those bookcases as they are if they're finding it works, or pulling them off, but kind of coming up with some sort of form that they could fill in to grab all of the information that we need to try to streamline our time. Now, I don't have an exact form up yet because, as we all know, that takes a lot of time to figure out exactly what questions and what resources we're asking them for. And then from that, we will start to actually do subject tags within the catalogue to make it really easy for them to find it. So we're trying to unpack the curriculum as much as we can and then tag books across, and then working in like communities that we already have, we are trying to figure out a best way to have like some sort of joint collection to tag all of those resources as we go, so that we can kind of share across to make it easier, because we don't all have time to go through every book that we have. So it's just trying to figure out the best way for teachers to use our catalog, so they don't just come to us with the recommendation of I want light books, but they actually come with a purpose, and even telling us the curriculum area that they're doing. So the ACARA code that comes behind that curriculum element will give us a great chance to be able to unpack that a bit more rather than just one word, because I'm pretty sure we've all had that as an example of someone just coming and asking for one thing.
Yeah, the curriculum coordinator is a wonderful person to get to know and support. Yeah.
Wonderful. Is there any other sort of final questions or any thoughts? Yes, at the back.
Just a different question.
No, please, absolutely, yes. This is a.
I'd just love to get everyone's opinion. Actually, I mean, you guys too. I don't know about you guys, but we have some students that are just books are dead miss. I don't want to read a book. Has anyone got any tips for some good books or some good? Has anyone found anything that's worked for those secondary students that just aren't readers?
So I have a wonderful staff member that works in the bottom level of our library for secondary, and every year she does a blind date with a book. So she has a whole bunch of books that she wraps up in just plain wrapping and has like a few words on the front about it, and the students have to go and choose that, and she actually finds that gets them quite engaged in it. She runs the same, if you want, I can get her the list of books out to you guys as well, but she does the same list of books every single year because it makes it easy for her. But yeah, she runs that with quite some really good success from that. The other thing that she does quite a bit is book talks, and she's trying to make that relevant. She also puts out, this is the one that people said that they didn't know what she did, that exact staff member. As you can see, she does a lot. She used to put out reading lists, so she started to put out reading lists for both staff and for students at the beginning of every holiday, and then she'll even go and deliver the books to the staff members so that they actually get reading, because if they're on board reading, then they'll pass that down to their students. And then she's now even started that in our weekly newsletter that goes out. She actually puts a book recommendation up in the secondary one, so both parents start to get involved in that, and so does the students that can see it as well. So she does a lot with trying to push that. It is a struggle. Another thing that she does is she starts to put little she calls them book talks, but she puts little like posters together, and she's starting to put them down in the year 5 section, because we found if we can get them in year 5 and year 6, they kind of continue on from that point. It's when you lose them in year 5 and year 6 that then they don't come back to your library.
We focus often on a wider reading program from year 3 with the introduction to chapter books, and so we look at different genres. As they read different genres, we have different colours, and we make a big rainbow chain through the library, and last year it went from one end to the other, and that was really exciting. So promoting those different genres is a great way. So with book club too, it might take a term, but once we looked at book trailers, and then we did a little treasure hunt through the library with QR codes, so the kids could come in and borrow an iPad, and our book club team kind of investigated their favourite reads, and we found the book trailers. So that was something. It takes a lot of time though to kind of work on that, but they're just ways. With book club, I also did Seesaw one year, where across the year the kids had to read a different genre, and Seesaw is a great free option where you can post pictures or drawings, or do a video of what they loved reading about. So that was another engaging way of kind of cross-pollinating and getting other kids to hear of other books. With the Literacy Pro program last year too, we ran a Book Hooks blog, so that we just didn't capture the books that the kids were reading on the program, but if it didn't have a quiz, they could read their own free choice and then do a Book Hooks blog. And some of those blogs, those book reviews, we then used as adverts on the library and promoting those. I'd love to get more involved with the reviews though in FSI as well, because that's another way to promote that. And
finally, one other idea that emerged out of a one-on-one interview that we held was little sort of I guess they're all sort of like collection of genres. In a way, yes. But it was, or is that, were you were going to say speed dating? Well, actually, it's not that. So if you give back the microphone, let's hear your answer first, and then I'll talk mine.
Okay, so we run wide reading for year 7, 8 and 9, and I used to coordinate activities, which I'm hoping to get back to, but, you know, time. And part of that was I would get groups of books, different genres, and make sure that you put the students not with their friends. So they used to line up with their friends, so I'd give them a number 1 to 6, and then the first time I ran it, I thought I had everything. I had the bell because I thought they're not going to read, there's going to be lots of noise. And they go and they sit at a table in the group, and they had 2 minutes to pick one of the books out of the middle and 10 minutes to read. And what surprised me was 2 things. I used the timer on my phone. I didn't need my bell. They automatically stopped. And besides one of the teachers who took the book with him to every table, the same book, they all read different genres, and then it increased them to find different books. And when I surveyed them at the end of the term about what activities they liked the best, that activity actually came up as their favourite activity, and then the trivia competitions, where they got chocolates.
That reminded me of a genre book battle, so that's something that the boys loved. With those year 3s at that time, we looked at different books, but we had a battle which they loved, and we did a big display of that, so they could see each week that different kids were choosing different books. Then we had the winning battle at the end, the winning book. Another one was book tasting, so we run those every now and again, but I was doing one at the end of each term. Last year with the Olympics, we had like a French cafe theme, so the kids could come every week, and we put, you know, the gingham tablecloths out, and we had plates, and they have a book on every plate, and they have a little brochure or a picture that they can draw, or some responding in some way. But that was just another way of engaging different types of book choices. So it's, getting them out of their comfort zone, isn't it? Finding a book that, they might not think they're interested in, but it might change their mind.
Perfect.
I'll just quickly butt in, really quickly, Brad.
Sure.
I do remember we had an amazing librarian at one of our schools who was heavily involved in TV for Education, and she had a couple of students who she was having trouble getting their attendance up, and so she used to run a movie club from TV for Ed, and hers was during lunchtime, but it may be after school, before school. And even though it was movie club, she wasn't actually playing a full movie. She was playing, I think at the time, it was Mythbusters and Science of Stupid. So short programs, didn't go for a full hour, but to get submitted into movie club, you have to come with a movie ticket, and your movie ticket is a book that you borrow. And then she would purposefully fluff about for about 15 minutes at the start of the class, because they had to sit there with their book and they've got nothing else to do. And they're looking around with their friends, what book did you get? Oh, what book did you get? And just by accident, they end up reading the book. And next time they come to movie club, they've also got to come in with another book. So it's, just thinking outside of the box things. If you're a TV for Ed user, of course you have those resources available to you, but most schools, whatever system you're using, you will have videos that you'll have access to. These kinds of group discussions are amazing, because it brings up those little examples that everyone's been running.
Yes. I'm mindful of time, Quentin, so I'll keep this answer short, but I just want to share it. If I wasn't in a group setting, I'd just tell you individually, but we're here now. So the more the merrier in lots of ways, but basically the idea was lots of little sort of, kind of like mini ring binders that are colour-coded for genres. And so, you could have, again, it was a school in far north Queensland, and so they would sort of just, she would have maybe 10 to 15 different genres that are all different color-coded tags, and then say, you'd find a book that you like and it's in this genre. Okay, cool. Okay, well, what other books are in this genre? And there'd be like, basically like 20, 15, 20 pages of just little laminated sheets of the book cover of that particular, I guess, collection in that genre. So then you're like, cool, I liked that book. What's next in this genre? And you kind of just find the books color-coded to that genre that you like. And then, you could sort of branch out into other codes and, other colours and other genres accordingly if that bug bit.
I
The
add one
reading
more
bug,
thing?
so it's a good one.
We had our book club team make finder cards, so they shared their favourite picture book, but we've got little laminated A4 cards, so it's got all the picture book covers, but it's got the letter of that author, so the little people can kind of find that picture and then go and find the book. But for the older readers, we've got lists of all the book series in order so that they can easily pick up one for a novel and find out which book they're up to, which, yeah, something visual and they can take and then leave was great.
Exactly.
But that's, again, book club initiated, they helped me kind of create that, and creates that ownership. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could talk for a long time, definitely by the house.
But I won't let
more
you.
questions to ask, but we'll wrap it up there. But yeah, thank you so much for everything that you've just shared. So thank you so much.
Yeah, just to echo what Brad was saying there, thank you so much to both of you. I know that you've been within the FSI ecosystem for a long time, but both of these amazing ladies do so much, not only for the library, but for their individual students and the school environment. So while we're here today, take the opportunity. We will have a networking session today. So if you do want to try and suck out as much information from them as possible, please do that. But we are also going to do some launches of some new products and innovations that we have developed over the last 12 months to help encourage these conversations, not only at these events, but 24/7 globally, wherever you are. So we're really excited to launch that in a few moments. But before we do that, let's jump up and do star jumps and all that sort of stuff. The bathrooms, as I said, are outside, and we'll kick off again at 1:15. Thanks, everyone. collaborate, innovate and prosper. I'm going to hand it over to Donald, who excitingly has been promoted within FSI. So you will probably hear a little bit less from him on customer service. He's been our customer service manager for a long time, so 8 years. But he's now stepping into a role called Head of Product Strategy for FSI. So it's going to be encompassing the customer service department, but it's going to be taking everything that we've been learning and hearing from you guys to a next level and having a bit more of a strategy as to how FSI is going to support school libraries. So yeah, I'm going to hand it over to Donald to introduce the next part.
I wasn't blessed with long legs. If you could do that for me next time, it'd be great. It's less embarrassing. So, yeah, as Quentin said, yeah, I've changed positions in the company. I feel over the 10 years that I've answered questions, I feel that I am probably the most qualified in the company to decide where we move next in regards to development and stuff like that. So expect a bit of change over the next, this is so weird, next coming months and years. But yeah, like it's awesome to see everyone here today. Thanks for coming out and spending your morning with us. Well, as Quentin mentioned earlier, FSI Connect, I don't know if a few of you would have come to our other sessions. They would have been a bit different. These sessions, we're designing them around sharing knowledge, sparking new ideas and strengthening connections with your community. And we've worked on something that's pretty exciting. I find it pretty exciting that I feel embodies that spirit, and that's the FSI community. Before I show you it, I'll just go over a few things that I've written down. But it's a space that we've designed for a Smart Suite and TV-fed users to collaborate by sharing knowledge, innovate by sparking new ideas, and to prosper by strengthening connections in your community. Excuse my voice, I was sick last week, so it's a bit croaky. But over the years is one thing that we've definitely learnt, and it's that running a library isn't just about having Smart Suite, the best LMS. Oh, sorry, that's incorrect. It's about having the right support, insights, and best practices to make it work for your school, your students, and your needs. Every now and then you might face a challenge that someone has already solved, or you yourself have discovered something, discovered a great way to do something that could benefit others. And we saw that from, having the two ladies up here before. You just share, how they do things in their library and the great ideas that they have. But at FSI, we're incredibly proud of everything that we provide. We also recognise something important, that we don't use the system the way you do. We might build the tools, but you're the experts on how it works in real life situations. That's why having a dedicated space where you can connect with other admins, other librarians, other teachers who truly understand your day-to-day challenges is invaluable. Until now, we haven't had a place or a central place to share those experiences. We had the Facebook group, but how many of you are a part of it? Yeah, so we didn't have a great uptake to our Facebook community, simply because in some schools you can't access Facebook. Some people don't want a Facebook account, which I can understand, and the times we're in now. So that's where everything changes. We have created the FSI community. And with the FSI community, you'll be able to ask questions and get real-world answers from people who use the system. Share insights, tips, workflows that make library engagement easier. Learn from others who face the same challenges that you face every day. It's about bringing all that knowledge into one place so that you never have to solve a problem alone. And what, Bernie, was it? What you said, like, I'm probably going to get emotional, but I care about, everyone here. And yeah, it sucks to hear that. So, excuse me, it's the cold. Yeah, it's hard to hear that. So, the FSI community, I want to be a place where you can be vulnerable, like this. But anyway, I'm just going to get into it. So it's accessible by every admin on the system. We will be bringing it out to teachers. I don't think students. Is that in your plan? Not students. Yeah, cool. I think that'll be a mistake. But yeah, so to access it from your system, you're logged in as an admin. You want to go to support, and then FSI FSI community. So user community, it won't be there. That's the Facebook one, but we'll be removing that. So we have some discussions already there. We've had this running with our Lighthouse group for some time now. So you'll see some people have their own conversations in there. So it's super simple to use. You click on one of the boxes that you would like to have a read of, scroll through. So I'm not used to using Macs. 2 fingers. Post comments, upload images. It's just a place where you can, voice your opinions, ask for help. The whole team is on that as well. So, if you, for some reason, didn't want to create a ticket, that's fine. You can chuck it in here, and someone will definitely be able to jump in and assist you as well. But, yeah, we really just wanted to create a space where you guys can go and just chat. Like, if you had questions for Vanessa or Candace, you can jump in here and, create a comment or a discussion, and, they can join in and assist you in anything that you guys have queries about. Yeah?
Yeah. Sorry. It's really about taking what we saw today in the Q&A session and taking it outside of this room and making it more accessible to everyone, wherever you are and whatever time zone you're in, to reach out and get ideas for help. It might be a simple question that someone's asked, and they're in the room today. We've got a ton of you that can feed in information, but there might be a colleague over in WA that's done a little bit differently that we haven't done here in Queensland, and they go, have you tried this? And all of a sudden, the conversation's blown up. Like Donald said, we launched this to a small cohort just to see what things need to be fixed and all that sort of stuff. And organically, we saw users from all over Australia outside that group jumping in and asking questions before we even released it. So it's really a platform for you guys to engage with, to help empower your libraries to get through different hurdles that you're experiencing. And we don't want you guys to feel like, oh, I won't ask it in case someone else has already asked it. Doesn't matter. Ask the question, because like Donald said, we're on there and we're following that. If we see that repetition through those questions, the first thing that our user engagement specialist will do is hold an event and say, more than one person is asking this question. Let's try and help libraries out across Australia by solving those questions or getting answers to you as fast as possible. Okay, so this is one of the new product launches that we're doing here at FSI Connect. It is already available for everyone. On the left-hand side is all the various different spaces. So as we're watching the conversations, we'll see what's going on, and we'll create a space for specific areas. And it might be things like digital integration into library, or e-learning, or best book choices. Okay, so if you want us to add a space so that you can have very specific conversations, let us know. Write us in a mailbox ticket and say, hey, it would be cool if we could have a space on this. Okay, now we're going to try and support you as best as possible, but we also don't want to load 1,000 spaces up. Okay, so the team are going to get together and we'll make sure that we'll try and facilitate those conversations as best we can. Okay. So yeah, jump online. They're available right now. Even if you wanted to take some photos of the event today and post them up, by all means do that. It's a closed session, closed framework. So it's only going to go out to Smart Suite users. We're not going to be reposting that to Instagram and making that available to everyone else. It's only for our Smart Suite administrators, and that encompasses obviously TV for Education as well, because it runs within the same ecosystem. Okay, any questions quickly about the community before we crack on? No? Awesome. All right, so one of the other things that we've been working on, may as well start here, is that conversation that I mentioned earlier about the budgets. Okay, now we as a company heard that over and over and over again, and even this morning talking to some of you about the fact that you're losing staff because there's no budgets, or I haven't purchased books for last year because of budgets or time. That really sat heavy with us. Now, everyone knows what you pay for FSI. It's quite a reasonable subscription fee. And even today, someone was saying to me, how do you guys do it? And we always come back and say, the question you've got to ask is why are you getting charged so much with someone else? Because if we can do it and we can be around for 35 years, there's something going on. Okay, but we were thinking, how can we support you guys the best that we can with one of those 3 hurdles, one of which is budgets. Now, we can't decrease our prices because then potentially we won't be here another 35 years. So we went to conferences a lot last year. We sponsored a lot of conferences like ALIA. And in that time, we get a lot of free time to just network with other companies, kind of forcibly, because I'm not usually someone who likes to get out of my box a little bit. But as everyone goes into your keynotes, we're stuck to talk to the person next to us. And in those organic conversations, we shared the heart of what we were hearing from you guys, and a lot of companies resonated with that. And the more that we had these conversations, we organically started to see something growing. We had a lot of these companies coming in to our conversations where we hosted group sessions through Brad and the Lighthouse, and we had industry experts coming in and presenting to a lot of our Smart Suite users and saying, this is how to prepare data, this is how to read data, this is how to present them to executive team members. And then after it, we said, we love your company and your subscription, but the issue is budget. Is there something that you can do to help our customers out? And all of a sudden, we had all these companies jumping on board and saying, hey, we want to be a part of this. So we've now formally formed a new component within Smart Suite called the FSI Marketplace, where for the last 12 months, we've been going around meeting with companies in the education space, finding out what they can do to provide services or goods to school libraries and education, sharing the heart of what we've learnt from you guys over the last 12 months, and saying, we will put it onto a marketplace inside Smart Suite. We are not going to charge you as a company because that's just not our ethos in business, but we want you to provide exclusive discounts to FSI schools. So we're seeing on the FSI Marketplace discounts ranging from 10 to sometimes 40% on printers, on posters, on promotional gear, on some of the things that I really, really love are these erasers that look like bookshelves, books in, containers, whatever they call them. I'm sort of struggling a little bit. But we've gone through and we got 7 steps for writing success. They've come on board and said, we want to give you 20% off all of our online platforms and resources. Even today, sitting during the Q&A panel, I had another partner just message me all the details and say, I want the agreement, let's sign on. So we've now got a gentleman who does coaching for jobs. So he can come out to your school and teach your kids, how do I interview, how do I write cover letters, how do I do this, how do I do that. And the heart for Marketplace is twofold. It's to give you better buying power and helping your budgets go further, but it's also helping you to get the teams. We don't want you to look at this as a resource of what can I buy for my library. We're saying, look at this as what can I do for my school. So if you've got a school play coming up, we've got a promotional company that we've partnered with who are giving you discounts and saying, here, if you want printers, posters printed, if you want banners, if you want all this sort of stuff, we can get it through the marketplace at a discounted cost. Go to your executive team and say, hey, would you like me to get them through our library subscription because I can get it for cheaper than what we've been paying somewhere else. If you're doing those loyalty cards, we've got the erasers and we've got bundles through Banners and Mash that you can use instead of going and, you know, spending your money through Kmart or whatever. There's discounts to buy it through here. There's innovations like magnetic bookmarks for your kids and NFC cards and NFC bookmarks, which, you know, we'll talk about in a little bit in a little moment, what you can do with those and how they can interact with your students. It's all available through the marketplace. So we are adding to the marketplace new vendors sometimes every week. At the moment, this is going to be launched to everyone's platform on Friday, and you'll be able to jump in straight away and start adding things to your cart and purchasing it. And the way that it works is you literally just go in and find what you're looking for, add it to your cart, tell the system how many you want, and then when you go to checkout, if you've got a purchase order number, you fill that in. That's going to send that purchase order directly to that partner, and then they will send you an invoice. And then you just liaise directly with them, and they will make sure that all of those promotions have been carried across to you. So if it's a subscription service like Capture the Action or 7 Steps, they'll set you up and they'll contact you with whatever details they need to upload into their subscription service. If it's a good or service, they'll make sure that all those goods go out to you. Okay, so it's all through the marketplace and through your subscription with FSI. So it's exclusive to us. You won't see any of those discounts anywhere else. And as I said, you know, loading into the system, we've even got, you know, Rayco and Culture Counts coming to the party as well and helping you guys just take that budget a little bit further and get that better buy-in from your executive team. So, you know, massive hats off to everyone at FSI who's been working really hard behind the scenes. You know, Brad liaising with partners, development through Donald and our programmers back in Melbourne. It's been a huge feat and we're really, really excited to launch that just to be able to help you guys out in the library to get that buy-in and get that budgets to go a little bit further. Okay. Any questions about Marketplace? Yes. Yeah, everyone. So if you're Smart Suite or TV for Ed or Smart Suite and TV for Ed, as long as you are an FSI customer, you receive everything within our platform. We're really, really simple to deal with. If you subscribe, you get everything in the platform. We're not like the others where you've got to pick and choose different things and pay us money for it. So yeah, definitely, if you're only subscribing to TV for Education, Friday you'll still get that. Okay. Any other questions? No? Fantastic. One quick thing that we wanted to go into is we've got a competition that we're going to start up for 2025. It's going to afford your library the potential, and this is globally across, it is national across Australia. So anyone that is a FSI user will have the ability to go into the competition to win up to $1,000 worth of engagement for your school with your library. But before we go into the details of it, I'm going to pull Donald up just to give you the heart of why we're doing what we're doing, because he was the guy that kind of started this competition and said, I think this is going to be a really, really good way to help libraries engage with the rest of the school, with parents and students. So,
yeah, so I travel to Melbourne every now and then. My family lives there. We do a lot of work there. I mean, obviously our main HQ was there as well. And I was with my sister it was a Friday, I think, and she was like, oh, come to school with me and help drop off Jack. And I was like, yeah, okay, no worries. So she lives around the corner, so we walked down there, and there's a coffee car just parked on the playground. And I was like, what's this about? She goes, oh, they do it every Friday. It's weird. I was like, it's not weird, this is cool. So I went over while she did her drop off. I got a coffee, had a chat to the dude, and I was just sitting there observing everything, waiting for my sister. And it was amazing. You know, everyone came out, teachers alike, students. Well, there's a primary school, so they don't drink coffee, but they were all out playing, parents were just talking, and I thought, you know, this would be a fantastic idea if we could do this for our libraries. You know, so that a library, whoever wins our competition, will have the option to have a coffee cart come out and just, you know, have everyone come out and just mingle. And, you know, it's good to know that, you know, the library is putting this on for the school so that, you know, maybe it might get more kids, more parents interested in what's happening in the library, especially, you know, your higher-ups, for people like yourself, Bernie, who you don't get much buy-in from them, but if they see what you're doing for the school, I think that would be, you know, pretty fantastic to see. And I sat there just thinking about it, getting emotional as I do. I just thought it was a fantastic idea, and I wanted to bring it to all our FSI schools as an opportunity to, just help the library get out into the face of the parents, the teachers, so that, you know, they can appreciate you, because you guys do a lot in the background and it's not seen. So yeah, I thought, you know what, let's make a competition out of it. Do you want me to tell the details? Or you want to come back to that? Well, we were thinking that the person with the most likes on the community, so start posting as people jump in and like, we will do a tally, you know, at the end of, what are the dates?
We'll confirm all the dates in writing, but it will be at the end of term 3, we'll tally up, end of term 2, we tally up all the likes on posts. The person that has received the most likes on posts for the period between now and the end of term 2 will be the winner. And then we will contact you in term 3 to work that through with you, when to get the coffee cart to come out to the school, how to advertise that, when to advertise that, because obviously we want parents to be aware of this, we want executive team members to be aware of this, we don't want to have any clashes where you know, teachers won't be available to come out and have some coffee with the library staff, and even things like, do you put a book display on? Do you do a best reads? Do we leverage QR codes to help, you know, get your resources out through Smart Suite? So we'll work that through with you in term 3, and then in term 4, we'll get that coffee card sent out to you guys, and we'll pay for it all. So you basically just have to stand there, drink coffee, and then try and go back to the library and not bounce off the walls. But yeah, so that's really, really exciting. You know, just seeing the heart from Donald in product strategy on how we're going to be able to support you, not just within development of the product, but taking it outside. You know, it's for us, you know, in management here at FSI, it really has solidified the decision for us to elevate Donald into various different roles, and, you know, the other team that is supporting us in that as well. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Now we are running a little bit behind time, so I'm going to move on so we can hit to the networking sessions in a minute. But I want to invite our other director, Eva, who you've probably been speaking with over many, many years, one of the longest standing employees at FSI, and also our head of marketing innovation, Mary Jane, just to support Eva in this as well. A lot of you probably don't know what we've been doing over 2024 in terms of our community outreach, and Eva's going to tell us what we've been doing and how you can be part of that this year in 2025. I'll drop the microphone for you.
And I've been told I have 5 minutes.
2 minutes.
Now, first of all, I just want to, I'm so excited about the FSI community. Just talking to a few of you just now, and you shared some of the amazing things you do in the library. I just want to see FSI community just explode with ideas, because these ideas will help librarians that I have librarians in WA with 2,000 students, and she works 1 day a fortnight. So this is, FSI community is definitely a place where we will share, collaborate, ideas, lift morale, and just be really shown as worthy in the library. I want to thank all our VIP customers online and in this room for coming today to this event. Even at 5 o'clock this morning, I was watching the registrations that were coming through for online. So there's actually over 100 registrations Australia-wide watching this event today. And I thank every one of you for being in this event. As you all know, FSI Company is 100% Australian, owned and operated. We are very proud of our staff. They are students of yesterday years. They are dedicated, they are responsible, innovative, and to make it really personal, I've just asked some of them what schools they went to. So these are some of the schools that were mentioned to me: Corowa Anglican Girls, Malvern Primary School, Camberwell High, Hunting Tower School, Heatherton Christian School, St Michael's Grammar, Marden High School, Paynham Primary School, Dandenong High School, Our Ladies College, Queensland, Westside Christian, Maryborough State High School. And I know there's others, but it just shows you this is where they all came from. Every encouraging word, every found resource from the library given to a child is you're making a library difference. You're making a difference in that student. Is the work you are doing in the library important? Absolutely, absolutely. You are shaping the future. Our FSI team is innovative, technical, dedicated. Our team includes business managers, teachers, librarians, IT technicians, programmers, network specialists, system analysts, and graphic designers. Another initiative that has been created by our team is the Scholarship Fund. Last year, this is going lower and lower. Last year, we started our scholarship program. This is going to happen again this year. So basically, you will receive a link with information on the different categories that you can choose students to receive a scholarship. With 2024, we had a number of scholarships, but there's two that I was in particular wanting to bring to your attention. Do you have maybe the next slide?
So these will also be available on our website. The QR codes will allow you to scan and have a look at the categories as well. So don't feel rushed that you have to take it all in. It's all going to be available online and emailed to you as well.
And there will be 3 different categories, and the total of that I think is $8,000. Yep. So they're a huge way of extending assistance to the students in your school. Last year we gave a scholarship to a girl that wrote a beautiful letter of thanks to us. I'm going to show you the letter. This is our beautiful Bella. She wrote a letter, and I'm trying very hard not to cry. I just want to say thank you so much for the scholarship. It meant so much to my family, and to get this, it really helped us to pay for most of my camp, otherwise I wouldn't be able to go. I am so excited for this amazing opportunity to provide me, and I'll make sure the camp will be an amazing experience. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And then we had a thank you from the librarian that was involved in choosing Bella. I met Bella's mum for the first time briefly at our fete on Friday. She said she has received Michelle's email but hadn't had time to reply. She mentioned how incredibly proud she was of Bella for being awarded the scholarship. She also said it was a huge assistance for the family and allowed Bella to attend the school camp that she wouldn't have been able to attend otherwise. She asked me to email her to remind her to reply, but I haven't heard back yet. We nominated Bella because she was our library monitor. We loved reading and who loved reading and was very active helping groups around the school. Despite only being here for a short time, we also knew that her personal life was difficult and that family didn't have a lot of money, so we know any contribution would be very appreciated. Before the scholarship, Bella was sharing one winter uniform with her older sister. So the uniform funding not only helped Bella, but her older sister as well. She was also able to attend the Year 9 camp to Queensland, which she wouldn't have been able to attend otherwise, and had a wonderful time. We don't see Bella that often since the award, as she is a lot more confident and seems to have developed a bigger network of friends. Well, the end part of that is what really makes me proud of all the things that my FSI team is doing, because not only did Bella receive that scholarship, but she now has flourished and has got a large circle of friends, and she developed and engaged in her school community. So the scholarships will be a link that will be provided to everyone at Functional Solutions, and you have the opportunity to join in this amazing way of giving back to the community. And something else that came out of that scholarship is the principal of that school actually came and provided the certificate to Bella, which was a great way of engaging the principal in the library with the librarian. They had a lovely chat and a lot more communication through that process developed with the library and the curriculum team. So please join. I'd love to see many applications coming through.
So just to quickly add on to that as well, you can see how much we care as the FSI team, both about the students as well as you in the library. So when we started the scholarship fund, we had a meeting together to choose who would be the recipients, and we had some really heartbreaking stories come through, and just some kids who needed to be inspired as well. And
Lots of tears from Donald too.
we capped out our contribution at FSI, and Bella's extra uniforms actually came out of the FSI team going, you know what, we've capped out, we've given to other people that were selected, but I'm going to put in this amount, and then someone else matched it, and then someone else matched it. And in the end, we kind of bullied FSI to extend the limit on the scholarships, and so it's risen again this year. And then, not to be cutthroat, but from a marketing perspective, this also allows us to provide material for your school to promote that your library did this. So all the recipients received posts that we put online signifying that this was something that came from the library, not just your school, but because of the work of your library team. So it straight away put them in the spotlight in front of their management team, where in some cases you may not have an in, and it's a genuine way to do that because it's work that you're already doing. So absolutely go ahead, have a look at the scholarships. It's another way to get in front of your management teams as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eva and Jay. And again, like as I was saying before, I really hope that the heart of what we are at FSI is coming through. I joke about the tears, but every single team member has literally cried over what we're doing at some point in time, whether it's a conversation with you guys where we just feel for you, whether it's a story that we've read through the scholarship, whether it's an innovation that we're really proud of and they're happy tears. It literally has happened multiple times to every single team member, probably besides Mr. Tyron, who heads up our development team. But he's a whole other kettle of fish, which we won't get into today. But we're running terribly behind time, so we did have a networking session that we had available for about 20 minutes. We're going to cut that short. So we'll come back here at 12:15 to close the event and just go through some really cool things that we've got hidden in your badges today. But if you want to hear more about the scholarship, Mary Jane and Eva will be over at the registration desk. You can go over and have a chat to them about that. If you're wanting... Sorry? If you're wanting to ask any tech questions about TV for Education or Smart Suite, Donald and our new team member Tish will be over in the back there. And then obviously we've got some awesome insights coming through the panellists, so we're going to invite Candace and Vanessa back up the front with Brad, and if you want to try and pull out any information from them as you can, we can do that as well. So we'll break out right now. We've got tea and coffee, we've got fruit and drinks and all that sort of stuff as well. So help yourself to that, and we'll come back at 12:15. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll just take you through now. In case you don't know me, my name's Carmen, and I'll just take you through how you can access the PD certificate. So if you've come along for the live, you will be getting PD credit, so for your professional development. If you haven't used that before, you can access it at any time, and you do get accredited for any in-system training or in-person training that you do, or webinars that you attend as well. So if you want to access your PD certificate and see what you have credit for, it's done through the menu. So if you expand the menu and then go to training and then training again, this just takes you through to the smart training. If you haven't done any of the smart training lessons, you can access these at any time. So it just runs you through some of the features. And then to get to the PD certificate, you just click on the box over here, view my achievements and print my PD certificate on the left. So once you click on that, you're taken through to your profile and the achievements tab as well. So in the achievements tab here, you can do smart training if you click on the click here to begin. But if you want to see your PD certificate, just click on the print PD certificate, and then it will take you through to the actual certificate. So you can see on the first page, it's got the overall summary of what in-system training you've done and in-person training. And then as you scroll down, it takes you through the different lessons that you've completed in smart training, and then any webinars that you've attended as well. So it takes you all the way through there, and then what we'll do is we'll add that to your PD credit on your profile. You just have to make sure to be able to see this, you have to be logged in under your profile. So it can't be a general or a generic profile. If you do have one of those and you're operating the library management system account, it does have to be under your own personal profile there for you to be able to see it and get it credited as well. So that's the that's the PD certificate there, and you can access that at any time and print it off as well if you wanted a hard copy of it. So that's the PD certificate there. Please feel free to access that as you like. And you can also just go through any of the smart training as well, and then that will give you credit for your PD certificate too. So that's it from us here. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate that you've taken the time to join us and join this session. Hope it's been very helpful for you. And if you do have any questions at all, or you're unsure about anything, please reach out at support@functionalsolutions.com.au, and we'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.